Welcome to today's program. We are here to speak Edo language. Edo language is compulsory. We have to preserve our Edo indigenous language. So today we have here in the studio with us Dr. Engineer Orhue Isibor. He's joining us today from Lagos, to discuss about a simpler method of counting in Edo. Okay, so majority of us can speak Edo language properly, but if you ask us to count in Edo, we might not be able to count in Edo language. Some of us, or many of us, I would say, we don't know how to count, to be honest. We can't count in Edo, but we can speak the language fluently, but we cannot count because of the complexity of counting in Edo. So Dr. Isibor has introduced a simpler method of counting in Edo that will make it simple. It simplifies it for us. So before we dive into today's program, I would like to give a background of Dr. Isibor, his accomplishments so far. Dr. Engineer Orhue Isibor was a pro-chancellor of Bensi Idahosa University, a human rights capital advisor, group CEO, managing director, Nosak Vegetable Oil Refinery. He also led the engineering team that built their vegetable oil refinery. Founding chairman, West Nigeria Limited. Dr. Isibor academic qualifications, Masters of Science in Industrial Engineering, Cranfield University in the United Kingdom. Doctor of Science Business Administration, Bensi Idahosa University. Fellow National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, and many others. Dr. Isibor is also the initiator, founder, and chairman of Center for Edo Studies, Bensi Idahosa University. He authors many books in Edo language for primary schools. He's currently writing books for teaching Edo language in secondary schools. Dr. Isibor has accomplished a lot. Domo.
Thank you very much, Nekwe. We are very proud of the work you are doing. It's a joy to have somebody like you working so hard for Edo language and Edo people out there in Canada.
Yeah, your credentials is one of those things that empowered those of us who are very young and still working hard to make a name in the Edo landscape. So thank you, sir, for empowering us.
Well.
So now let's dive into Edo. Wagiazedo, it is time to break it down and speak our linguistic heritage. The Edo language is very interesting. So now I will pull out a document where Dr. Isibor will take us through the process, how we can simplify this counting in Edo. So let's dive into it now. Yes. Okay, let me share the screen.
Okay, Uresi.
Okay,
while you are sharing the screen, yes, as you have said,
yes, sir.
The challenge today is that many people, highly educated people who can speak Edo language, cannot count in Edo language. And like you said, if I ask you or almost anybody, 99% of people, I say, Enupoye, how old are you? Enupoye, Eginyata, Nuda, Enyagwa Kemivedo. If you not see a given a Kavedo or logo, it's where Akemivedo will count Emaka Ugugi, Keke, area. Ugugi at ye. So one normal, if you have somebody where what's 47? Egeka, because we count in Benin in 20s. So you have to say Yeva. You go to the top one, say a hierro with Kigbesi Yeha. And when you see that you are saying a hierro with Kigbesi Yeha, you've done 3 of the challenges in Edo language. The first one,
Igbe
is 10.
Ugie
Ugie is 20, But when you count 20s in more than one, you call it iyi. So ugie is actually iyokpa. 2 20s is iyeva. 3 20s is iyeha. That's 60. 3 20s, which is iyeha. 80 is 4 20s, which is iyene. So we count in 20s. And then when we get to 200, we start to count in 200. So you say ariakpa, which is uri. You say ariava, which is 400. Ariaha, that is 600, because you are now counting 200. Ariane and Ariasen is 1,000, which means 5 times 200. So that's the first challenge. We count in 20s and we count in 200s.
200.
So if you
Okay,
have a
what is
figure,
100? What is 100 then?
okay, 100 is actually still Iyi. So you call it Iyisen. That means
Yes.
20 times 5. Iyisen. Okay. Then uh, 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 6 times 20, it's 120, which is 6 times 20 is Iyeha. And if you want to say 160, you say Iye, because you are counting in 20s until you get to 200. When you now get to 200, you start to count in area, and then you start to add the Iye. So if I ask a highly educated person, well, how do you call, say, 257 or 264? Just 3 digits, so it will be almost impossible, because you now have to, first of all, remove the 200, then remove the 20s and everything. So that's the first challenge. The first challenge is that we are counting in 200s and 20s. The second challenge is that we actually go from the right hand to the left hand. Let me explain this. If you look at the figure that I've sent there, if you want to call say a simple figure like 167, if you want to call a single figure like 167, you have first of all to break it into 20s and then into 200s. So you say 167 is a higher way. Kigbese iyihin. That's remove 3, remove 10 from 20 times 9. When you write it down, if you write it from right to left, that's when you can read it. That's 3 minus 10 minus 20 times 9. You go from right to left. So when you are counting in Benin, it is extremely difficult because you are going from the right hand to the left hand. 3 minus 10 minus 20, 10. That's 167. Before you can do that arithmetic in the head, I mean, it's a mission impossible. And if I was to say, what is 581? You have to remove the 200. That's there are 200s there. Arriva. You have to then remove the 20s. It's really big arithmetic. Now, this is the problem. So I've mentioned 2. 1, we count in 20s and 200s. 2, we go from right to left. And that's because of our word order. In Edo, the word order goes from right to left. You say Ikwo, Eva. You don't say Eva, Ikwo. Ikwo, Eva. You go from right to left. Ikwo, before the Eva.
Yeah.
So that's the
Unlike
word order.
English, where you said 2 women, but in
2
Benin,
women, yes.
Edo language, you say women too.
Yes, in Edo language, we say women too. And that going from right to left has carried into the counting. So you don't say, and because you are going from right to left, it makes it impossible to count in Edo. The third one is that in Edo language, if you use that example which I gave, you go from the smallest figure to the largest figure, going from right to left. So you say Eha, Rowe, Kigbese, Iyi, Ihi, Nya, Ariava. So you are going from right to left in ascending order. You are going from small figure to larger figure to still larger figures. Okay, those are the 3 characteristics of counting in Edo language, which makes it virtually impossible for a very educated man to count in Edo. Myself, who's done all this research, and I've done a great deal of research, if I were to tell you a number in Edo, I first have to write it down, do the arithmetic before I can call it. You cannot call it standing because the mental arithmetic is just too difficult. Okay, so those are the 3 problems, 3 major challenges counting in Edo. Now, we then went on to say, I then went on to do research on what is the international method of counting. What's the international method of counting? And when you check the international method of counting, you see that these problems in Edo don't exist there. They've resolved it. The first one is that counting is done in decimal. Internationally, counting is done in decimal. That means it's done in tens and parts of 10. So you have 10, 100 is 10 in 10 places. Then you have 1,000, which is other parts of 10. Then you have 1,000,000. So you count internationally, you count in decimal. You count in decimal, in tens, 100, thousands. That's the first one. Because you count in decimal, everybody in the whole world, it's easy for them to follow. Incidentally, when the Edo people are writing, they actually write in decimal. But when they are calling the figure, they start to call it in the old method, which doesn't work. Okay, so the first characteristic of international method of counting is that we count in tens. The second one characteristic is that you go from left to right. You go from left. So you say, for example, 3,421. You are saying the 1,000 first, 3,421. You are going from left to right. That's the second characteristic of counting in decimal. You go from left to right, and then the third characteristic, you go from the large number to the small number. You count the million to the thousand to the. Now those three characteristics are opposite to what's happening in Edo. Now, what we've done after a great deal of research is that we have simplified the Edo counting. We have put it to be in line with the international method of counting in decimal, because we write in decimal anyway. So we have made Edo to be in line with the international method of counting in decimal. Okay. So you say, for example, you say if you say Iyisen is 100. So you say Eva Iyisen, that's 200. Eha Iyisen, 300. Ine Iyisen, just like you say 3,000, 300, 400, 500. So you say Ine Iyisen, Isen Iyisen, 500. 1,000 in Edo is Ariasen. And because it's Ariasen, you can say Eva Ariasen. What's Eva Ariasen? You tell me from this is a small discussion. Eva Ariasen.
2,000. 2,000.
What's Ine Ariasen?
4,000.
You see? What's Isen Ariasen?
5,000.
Okay. What's Eva Iyisen? Iyisen is 100.
Eva Iyisen, that's 200.
200. So what we've simply done, or what I've done after a great deal of research, is that I have brought the Edo counting, I removed it from 20s, I've put it in tens, I've gone from left to right, and I've just done it in decimal. And because we've done it in decimal, it is now easy to count any number from 0 to 1,000,000 or to what higher. Let me just do a small arithmetic for you. Call a small number for you in English and call it in Edo. If I say 4,741, if I say 5,741, the first 4 that you write is called 4,000. The 7 you write is actually called 700. The 2 you write is 20 and then 1. So you call it 4,721. You are going from left to right. And so in Edo language, we just follow the decimal, the international decimal method. So you say 4,000, which would be Ene Ariaisen. 700, Ihiyon Iyisen. 20, Eva Igbe Kiwokpa. So you say 4,721 will be Ene Ariasen, Ihiyon Iyisen, Eva Igbe Kiwokpa. We've just simplified it.
And but it's like you will illustrate this for our next program.
Yes,
give us a proper illustration and the spelling as well, so that we will understand it more better. So you see the way you are describing it now is very clear to me, very, very clear and simple.
Yes,
it is true that you have simplified it, but we also want to see an illustration that will help our people.
I will do
so
that.
This is a very important topic, because majority of us have not even thought about this, that we don't know how to count in Edo. Even me
Yes.
sitting here, if you ask me to count, I think I will be able to count up to 10 proper. After 10, then I will have some problem counting. So,
In,
which is very poor, very,
in
very
fact,
poor.
let me tell you, Nepa,
Mm,
if you can count up to 10
mm,
and you know that 100 is Iyisen and 1,000 is Ariasen, in just 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes of teaching you this new method, you
mm.
can call any number, no matter how large. And when you are calling it, the person that you are speaking to will also understand. That is the simplicity. What we've done, what I've done is really me, is that I have brought the Edo counting in line with the international it's called international denary system, but it's actually international decimal counting system. Once you bring it in line with the international decimal counting system, you find that it is very, very, very easy to count and to know.
The way you just, yes, I think it's very easy. Me too. It's very easy for me now. But the question is, when it comes to changing the counting system of the Edo orthography, is
Yes.
something that all Edo people have accepted. You know that there's this controversy over the standardization of the Edo language orthography, and people like to argue. You understand? When it comes to teaching Edo language, it's like everybody is a champion. You know, Edo people, we are very complex. Everybody is a champion. This one never wants to listen to the other person. So all of us are champions. So how do we spread this message that all Edo people will accept and adopt this new method of counting? It's my concern now.
We will say that's a very, very important question. Very, very, very. Edo Akugbe or Eti. What tends to happen is that we don't listen enough to each other. We don't listen enough to each other. This accounting method, I took to the palace. The Oba was very, very excited, very, very excited. And then he asked us to go and do the book with his picture on it because he was very excited. But then our friend on the other side decided to do their own secondary one, and that slowed it down. But we
Oh,
are.
you see, that's what I'm talking about. Very dark in Nigeria, 7 o'clock.
Let me see. Okay, you can see me now.
Yes, very clear.
And you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, very nice.
Okay, very good. I mean the Wi-Fi.
Double.
The Wi-Fi.
I can't even believe that you celebrated your 80th birthday. Look at you
Only,
looking very young.
only,
Nobody will believe that you are 80 years.
only.
You look like 60 years old. My goodness, I've
Every,
never seen this.
even the doctors after the,
Hey,
I go for this normal
hey,
checkup, annual checkup.
hmm.
Yeah, again, yeah, well, that I'm 60. Well, okay, it's true. I worry.
My goodness. I've never seen 80 years old looking so young like this before.
Only 80, 100 by the grace
Yes,
of God.
yes,
In good health and in good care. Mm.
yes, sir.
So,
So,
so
yeah.
your to your question,
Mm,
um, the upper then set up a committee to listen to what the other people are saying so that we can resolve it and then come back. So we are waiting for that committee to meet so we can resolve it and go back to the upper. But the books are out.
mm,
We're going to talk to Subeb so they can start to use it in schools. Let me also tell you one fallout from this
mm.
from counting from right to left. If I say where from if I write 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. 7
Mm,
minus 3 is
mm,
equal to 4. Okay,
mm.
7 minus 3 is equal to
I
4.
don't know. It's certain. It's certain.
Yeah,
We
that's
are
the
not.
that,
We are not very advanced in all these things. To be honest,
I
I'm.
know. But let me tell you why. Because we are where 7, why can't you say minus 3 is equal to 4? It will become difficult. You have to go from left, from right to left to make sense. Okay. Here, 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 okay, you are going from right to left. Here, here, okay. But if you write it the way it is normally written, 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. You can't call it. That's because they do go the opposite way. They go from right to left. So what we've done in doing counting in decimal, we've just kept everything to the decimal method of counting and writing. Decimal method of counting and writing. And like we just said, this quick example we give. And when I do the examples for you, it is very, very easy. We have tried it not only with people who don't speak Edo. We just tell them 1 to 10. They start to be able to count in Edo. We've tried it with market women, because most market women, they can count in decimals. They count in English now anyway, which is in decimal. So by the time you give them the Edo words for those things, they can count. So market women that we've used, in no time at all, they are counting in Edo. Non-Edo people, like Ishans and Oras and everything, easily you show them, they start to count in Edo. It's so simple. It's a big gift to the Edo people, very big.
So this is a very important topic, very, very. Given that I'm also the initiator of Edo Language Day worldwide, so it's something that we want to adopt in this our group, and we want a thorough illustration of this new counting, and we want some programs, not just only one program. We want a continuous program that will take us through the process, the counting, the pronunciation, so that we'll get to master these words. These words, we have to master them, like the 20 or ugie.
Right now, 20 is, in the old method, 20 is actually uge or yokba. Then 40 is yeva. But in the new methods, you count in tens and hundreds. So 20 is igbe eva. 30 is igbe iha. 40 is what? Igbe ine. What's 50?
Igbe ise.
What's 60?
Igbe iha.
Yes, that's okay. That's the tens. Then 100. Eva iyise. That's 200. Iha iyise. 300. What's 400?
Ene iyise.
That's correct. What's 600?
Iha iyise.
Wonderful. Okay, 1,000 is ariaisen. So Eva ariaisen is 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
Yeah. Iha ariaisen is what?
3,000.
What is 4,000?
Ene ariaisen.
That's correct. So it's that simple. So if you want to say, in fact, let's just do one exercise. If you say 4,342, remember what's 4,000?
Ene ariaisen.
That's 4,300.
Onage
Iha iyise.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Then 41. Ene igbe kewokpa.
Yes.
So if you take a number, any number, say like 5,748, you just say the 5,000 is sen ariase, 700 ihiyon iyise, 48 ene igbe kebe. By the time you just do a few like that, you're already on your way.
And I need those books. I need those books. Yeah, from Benin. So that they will send it. Yeah, we need the illustration, Baba. When will you illustrate it in a PowerPoint presentation?
Okay.
A very nice one, and make the counting very bold.
Very simple.
Yes. So that we can master this new method of counting. We need some time to master it in our brain, right?
Wonderful. Let's say it has to be in April, because I'll be out of town for the rest of March. So we can do it in April, by which time I can do the PowerPoint presentation and you can take people through it. And no time at all, everybody is
because we need we need series of programs to
Yes.
promote this new method. Otherwise, our people won't know.
Yes.
They won't know.
Yes. They will know. Yes.
Especially this
Yes.
social media these days. Many of our people are using social media, so we need
Yes.
to continue to promote it so that everybody will get to understand that this is one
Wonderful.
issue we are facing in Edo language orthography. The majority of us are traditional speaker of the language, but
Mm.
if you ask us to count, we don't know how to. That is a
If
fact.
if you
That's a
if you
fact.
ask a number where if you go no who you go to say no ya no ya key you you can't say it in Edo.
Mm,
It's simple like you say how old are you
mm,
or well, I quite know where was the time because they got time Edo, but
mm.
all these things have solved it.
Yeah.
So that's what we not only solved it, it has simplified it. It has simplified it. By the time we go through the exercises, you will see that it's so simple
It's simple.
that the people will take through it will know it in no time.
Yeah. So yes, sir. Yeah, I think in the next program we'll come out with a thorough illustration of the
Good,
counting,
good,
the new
good,
method
good.
of counting Edo
Yes,
language, so that
yes,
many of us will start reading and try to master it in our brains. So that
yes, yes.
whenever we see anything, especially if they ask you how old are you in Edo language, you should be
Yes.
able to spell it
You
out.
should be able to say.
Yeah,
You should be able to say.
yeah. Well, say, Baba, this is so good.
God bless